Holy Gospel according to Saint Matthew. Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees have taken their seat on the chair of Moses. Therefore, do not observe all things whatsoever they tell you, but do not follow their example. For they preach, but they do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens, hard to carry, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they will not lift a finger to remove them. All their works are performed to be seen. They widen their phylacteries and lengthen their tassels. They love place of honor at banquets, seats of honor in synagogues, greetings in marketplaces, and the salutation, Rabbi. As for you, do not be called Rabbi. You have but one teacher, and you are all brothers. Call no one on earth your father. You have but one Father in heaven. Do not be called Master. You have but one Master, the Christ. The greatest among you must be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted." This is the gospel of the Lord. I have a book of jokes, but this morning I read a couple of jokes. Nobody laughed. I don't know if we are more intelligent than the people in the morning, probably laugh. Okay? Please help me. This is about a husband and wife. Husband asks his wife, "Darling, what's wrong with you? What's the bandage on your eye?" The wife said, "Don't be funny here. That is my new hat." A woman was talking about her husband. Actually, husband is the new author, new writer. Other ladies asked her, "How come your husband is a writer, author?" "Well, he's the one who is writing my check." One more joke, then I'll finish. A husband and wife were passing through the same park where they were sitting for dating 60 years ago. So the wife said, "Isn't it wonderful, my dear, that we sat here in this park 60 years ago?" But the husband said, "Remember, we did not see that notice behind the bench. Dangerous corner, go slow." Dear brothers and sisters in the Lord, the word humility is derived from the Latin word humus, H-U-M-U-S. That means dust on the floor. Humility, therefore, means that we have to lower ourselves to the level of dust. Jesus speaks to us today about the need of humility, to be humble in all our dealings, in all our relationships, because he himself was humble. We read in the letter to the Philippians that although he was in the form of God, he left everything behind in heaven. His glory, his glamour, his beauty, and he became like one of us, took the form of a slave, and he was obedient unto death, death on a cross. He was killed like a criminal, an unwanted soul. Jesus, the God, was humble, and we have to be humble in all our relationships. Jesus was born from poor parents. Joseph was a poor carpenter, poor man. Mary was a very poor woman too, from an ordinary family. They didn't have any wealth, but God chose a poor family and poor people as His parents, and we have to be humble for that reason in all our relationships. And He accepted all poor people as His disciples, simply ordinary people. Fishermen, He did not choose big lawyers or scribes or princes as His disciples, simple, humble human beings. And He was visiting ordinary people, their homes. He wanted to be with humble people, poor people. So we have to be humble in all our relationships and dealings. And when He died, they didn't have even a good burial place for Him. He was buried in somebody else's grave. He didn't have anything. He came here without having anything as a poor man, as a humble man, and He died as a humble man. We have to be humble in all our relationships. Dear friends, very often the discord in a family takes place because of the lack of humility. We don't recognize our own limitations. We don't recognize our own weakness. When we have an argument with our wife or husband, we always think that what I say is true. You are wrong. We don't want to accept other people's point of view. Therefore, dear friends, we have to be humble in all our relationships. When we learned moral theology some 20 years ago in our seminary, our moral theology professor used to tell us, humility is a queen of all virtues. Humility is the queen of all virtues. Adam and Eve committed sin because they wanted to be like God. They disobeyed God and they sinned because of the lack of humility. Angels want to become like God. They threaten God. They want to become like God because of the lack of humility, and they were thrown out of heaven and they became Satan. Humility is the queen of all virtues. We have to show that beautiful virtue in all our dealings, especially with our own spouses. We should not simply say that what I say is true and you have to keep quiet. Shut your mouth, sometimes we say, without remembering our own weakness and our own lack of understanding. Dear friends, let us ask the help of Blessed Mother so that we may be always humble in our thoughts and actions, and especially in our words. Amen.